Hello, I'm Claire of galaxycoop on all of the other social media platforms, and for my first YouTube video, I'm going to do a long form flip through of all of the miniature grimoires that I've completed this year. These are all hand bound myself and I'm super proud of them, so I hope you would enjoy this longer form content from me and longer form content in the future. I'm bringing you in a little closer for this book. So this is my first miniature grimoire I bound this year and my first real foray into bookbinding. I'm definitely still learning, so the binding is a bit unstable. But what the covers are a board book that was bound with like a ring, and it was sunflowers, so I cut it in half to create this cover for this, and the spine is covered in ribbon to hide my bookbinding sins. I'm getting better and I'm learning. So let's start with this ring here. This is the ring that came with the board book. I still have more of the board so I can bind more. But on the ring, hi Minky, my cat is here. You might see his tail. I have a disco ball and some various pretty ribbons, a whole bookmark that I thought was fun and exciting, and it makes a lovely jingling noise altogether. Some beads. And this is what I've dubbed my creatrix grimoire. So in lieu of exploring like a typical maiden mother crone archetype, I don't think I want to be defined by motherhood. I'm not a mother and I don't plan on being one, but I'm definitely not in my maidenhood. So I wanted to look into an alternate, as a mother is also a creatrix. She creates life, she brings life into this world. A lot of goddesses are creatrixes. So I wanted to explore that as an archetype, as someone who is in a place in their life where they are creating and putting out to the world and learning how to create community. So it's tied with a ribbon from inside, which is one of my mistakes, is that it doesn't tie very tightly. Here's the side profile view. It's very large. I will point out art in here that is not mine, and I will link the people that I have received snail mail from, so you can go follow them there too. So the front is a print I did on book pages with a jelly block, and then another print, an ex libris print that I cut out from one of my line cut prints that I made. And then I have an altered magazine page that says, "We are going on a journey, grab a cuppa," as in a cup of tea. So here's where I define creatrix in here. I have this butterfly ephemera I cut apart. This is a mixture of multiple different materials on the pages when I bound the book together, as well as very mixed media in the inclusions. Like here, I have like a face gem I had left over from like a Halloween costume. Some people won't like your new power with these scared googly eye ghost stickers that I found at a thrift store from the 90s. I do regret binding with these vintage book pages because they're kind of delicate. I did have a couple of pages fall out and get incorporated into new grimoires. Little drawing of a bottle. Let's get some libations. I had initially planned to include some recipes for like libations in here, but really just making sure you have a snack and something to drink when you're crafting, I think, is the most important part. This beautiful sparkly tape here. This is some junk mail, some stickers, some painted paper. Find inspiration in nature and in other people. And then in here, I was at a really low point. I was feeling really sick from my many illnesses and ailments. So these are just small pieces, some photocopied oracle cards, a collage that says, "Creation is a radical act, no matter how big it is." And a little bee doodle. This is a stamp I carved, and this is watercolor. It says a vision from my garden on the back, so it must have been when my front yard was full of these native buttercups and the native bumblebees just come out and gorge themselves on all the wonderful food. And then I get a notice from the city that says my lawn is too tall. Making in small quantities is still big energy. I started incorporating song lyrics into my work this year. So, You're Alive, Quit Acting Like You're Dead is from Sleeping at Last's To Be Enchanted. It's a gorgeous song. And there's some confetti. This is a photocopy of a painting I did that's really small because it was on a zine. Find spiritual allies. So this skull bat print is really special to me. I found the skull bat in a vintage watercolor piece from the 1500s, and it just really spoke to me as a representation of a creative ancestor spirit. And then this is a printout from Molly Roberts that I printed on cardstock so I can watercolor on top of it. This sigil here is my healing sigil. And it says, blessings find us working. Another sigil I made for the moon. It's dark in the center, so it can be a new moon or a full moon, depending on the colors I printed in or printed on. Another printout from Molly Roberts, or I think this is ephemera I actually purchased from her. Life is all cycles. It's another one of my line cut prints that I cut out and doodled around. All of the failed prints get incorporated into more artwork. I can't let anything go to waste here. Hi, Minky. Okay. Ah. So this is a doodle I did for a painting when I was learning how to paint in gouache. I'm not happy with the painting. I'm much happier with the doodle. So I pulled it out of my sketchbook and I put it in here. The past is here to give us wisdom. So our past selves can give us wisdom, our ancestors, history. Another line cut print cut out from my resilience prints. And some drawing with some scraps. I was trying to use this as also a way to bust through all of my tiny scraps because this book is real small. You can see it compared to my hand. Art captures, more prints, a wax seal. This is crayon. I have writing in the background in gel pen that you can't read anymore, so it's just some lovely texture. Great creative magic, great creative forces. And we're moving into a lot more visuals, marker drawings, tape that I used for painting, more crayon doodling, some ribbon, washi tape. This is another sigil stamp I made for blessings and rain, or the blessing of rain. I grew up in Arizona, so rain is always a blessing. Art is anarchy, art is alchemy. That is from Walking in This World. It's the sequel to Julia Cameron's Artist's Way, and that book really spoke to me. I can't really walk, so I might read Finding Water next, since a weekly walk doesn't really work for me, but the rest of that book is just amazing. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for to get your creative juices flowing? I think everyone has a inherent right in their humanity to create. Exploration is the root of discovery, with another line cut print that I painted over. I made these line cut prints for cards, so I have them on the front of cards, and they're going to be in my shop soon. This is a paper bag that's sewn in here. Shifting perspectives. So to help with the shift of perspective, I have little cards in here. So these are more stamps I made magic, an invocation, a twin to that, alchemy, art is soul alchemy. And then on the other side, I have this little brad here, and these are what is actually supposed to shift your perspective. So I have a vintage slide with a beautiful landscape on it. And then I have, this was cut from a tin fish box with some holographic film on the inside to look through so you can see past the ordinary. Give joy a chance, fake it if you have to. Sometimes faking a smile is all we need to have a better day. And then creativity has no time limit. Even bees take naps and eat sweet treats. So accepting that despite being a creator and wanting to create all the time, you need to accept that rest is important and feeding yourself is important. A crawdad. This is a reference to the moon card in tarot. So there's a crawdad on a traditional moon card. And I always like to say we are all crawdads on our way to enlightenment. I don't know, I think that's silly. This is something I got from our Witchy Snail Mail group from Alexander Speaks. I'll tag his Instagram, but he makes beautiful art and he's making some oracle decks that are going to be coming out. You should go support him because his art is amazing. I am free to create, dream big, and live by the moon in my heart. I can summon soul rainbows. This is an invocation for soul wings, to call wings to your soul so you can fly to more beautiful meadows. This is one of my favorite little mantras. My art has the power to heal myself and others. This is also from The Artist's Way, so the author has you take affirmations or mantras and use your inner critic to alter them to things that resonate more deeply with you. And I have taken to do that with every single affirmation or mantra I look to. I try to fight my inner critic by allowing it to have a conversation and then picking the mantra that works. I can ask for support from the universe. Watercolor painting here with markers. And the last page, my creative journey is just beginning. And that is the Creatrix book. The next two books are both bound as single signatures, so this is what they looked like before, adding much to the pages. I had a ribbon marker in both of them, and they're super thin. My thought was if I was working in a single signature, if it got too thick, it wouldn't get uncomfortable to work in over time, and then I could bind them all together later. And here is the first book. So this is printed on here in gold ink. And then I have a wax seal and a wood embellishment and some paper embellishments on the front. And then I splattered it with iridescent watercolors. I was working on this book during Molly Roberts' Rock Your Grimoire course. I wanted to have something I could really focus on. So Little Grimoire number 1, I finished this in September. It took me a little under a month to finish this, and the speed at which I've been doing grimoires has increased. I've just been really into it. It feels really freeing to not be so focused on producing art to sell on my website, on my Etsy shop. So I place a sigil, protective sigil, in all of my grimoires, and I usually hide it behind something. It's one of the sigils where I don't remember what I initially used as the protection spell. These are once again bound with like a lot of different textures of paper, so I can have a lot of interest in how everything looks. So this is a washi paper. The beauty is in the liminal, and I have this gorgeous webbed washi paper, and I've done some glitter on it, and I used this as a theme throughout the book, so you're gonna see it everywhere in this book. I have this little bookmark that I've laminated and written on. This is magazine page, some purchased ephemera, some of my own prints, more of my own prints, some stickers. I give in to creation, but I found joy in the alchemy of making. That is from Tower's southern facing room. Giving in to allowing song lyrics to affect my work, because I really love music. I love listening to music. I listen to it all the time and it affects me really deeply. I think music is such magic. Alchemy, exploring what alchemy means. I have some of my own prints here at the bottom, some stickers. Alchemical art is thought to be the language of the soul. This is a prompt from Molly Roberts, so she wanted you to make a witchy apothecary shop. So I have these bottles and cups, and I wanted to emulate like old-timey like medicine labels. So a scattered thoughts tisane, crushed beetle anxiety buster, tonic for inspiration poison, and some unfinished cards in here. Fast acting powdered moth wings. I mean, no art is ever finished, but I'll return to that when I'm ready to return to it. Becoming what does self mean? This is one of the last pages I finished in this book. Things I am versus things I am not, with some journaling on the back side. I have this gorgeous, and then another piece. There's a piece of the lacy washi paper there, and some journaling on the back. Collage, watercolor. This is once again like a washi paper, so it's really beautiful and textured. This is another prompt from Molly Roberts, so it was an illustrative spell. So how you have these blue moon blueberry lemon cookies illustrated as a spell. And then I have a photograph from when I made them. They were delicious. They were so good. I have Make Me into a Magic Potion. This is another one from Molly Roberts' Rock Your Grimoire. And I created this shaker potion bottle. I attempted this last year with Rock Your Grimoire and it didn't work, and I was really frustrated with it. It was also the wrong size for my grimoire because I do work really small, and I think this year I finally admitted to myself that I work small. A lot of stamping in this one as well. I learned how to do line to cut prints this year, and it's kind of consumed my life. I sketched an image from a photograph of myself, and then I painted over it as a little demon, a demon fortune teller. And it says, I am a magic powerhouse. Yeah, and you're a magic powerhouse too. I think everyone has their own magic powers. Another laminated bit, and this was an actual, I guess, a spell working about being ashamed, and I'm choosing not to be ashamed anymore. Vintage playing card from a bridge set. There's that paper again. And then this is a zine I made. This is a copy of it. This isn't the original that I put in there. I was working on that at the same time. And the beautiful background in this is another cut up print that I didn't like. All the bad prints get put to use. A farewell ode to summer and her delicious tomatoes and gem corn. My husband and I grew so many tomatoes, beautiful corn, and cucumbers in our garden this year. And I was so sad to see it all start dying off. Another song lyric, this one is Melanie Martinez, another reference to alchemy there. And I have this window with this bug paper, some painted butterflies. And this is so exciting to me. I saw a tutorial of some like butterfly bookmarks where the butterfly wings like stick out of the top of the book, and I was like, I can adapt that to be a hidden message. I have these hidden message butterflies about things I want to release from my life. And they're just gonna fly away and I won't have to deal with the bad feelings anymore. I just thought that was so cool. I create the life I desire. My genius is by my side. This is the final mini grimoire I finished this year. So I have this wood detailing that I painted on the front, this beautiful vintage ribbon I found at the thrift store. Just gorgeous and iridescent. I don't know how well the camera captures it. Gotta really make sure these are tied tight because they are thick. And then for the cover on this one, any like leftover paint I had on my palette or ink, I would just splotch on with my fingers, and I think it turned out pretty neat. I like the way it turned out. So this one is more autumn centric. I was working on a different grimoire at the same time, and I will show a flip through of my progress on that so far in the future. So a lot of text in this one. I've got these stamps that I got from Witchy's Snail Mail, stamps I made myself, another jelly block print where I used my skull bat stamp to lift off the paint from the jelly block, a book plate I made and designed of a tombstone, and then my sigil here, and more stamping of my own sigils and stamps. Equinox land thanking and blessing. So I always do a land blessing at the spring equinox to bring in stuff, and I thought we should do a land blessing to thank the land for what it brought to us over the year. So I made this corn doll out of corn husks and stuff from our garden, a grain mother, and then we burned it and we're gonna scatter the ashes onto the land. It's a decorated paper clip, some scrapbooking paper, stickers, things I've painted. I weave my fate and capture my dreams. This was initially going to be my spooky grimoire, and then I got too excited and I had to find a new one. But this page was already started with the spider webs. But I still think it turned out really cool. This is the most recent stamp I've made. It's this skull with butterfly wings. I think he's fun and cute. A study about genus loci, a lot of text. Is it genus loci or genus loci? I've heard it both ways, and I'm concerned on whether I'm pronouncing it correctly. I painted this little land spirit years ago. I never found a place to put her in my grimoire, so now she has a home. And then, of course, the spirits know you dwell here too. This page is about the first frost and some traditions around it. I thought I'd be able to find more, but I really didn't. This page, every new moon, I do an art piece to set my intentions for that moon cycle, and sometimes I do it in a grimoire and sometimes I do it separately and like put it on my wall, or it's a vision board, or it ends up as a collage. But this one's in my grimoire with this gorgeous sticker. Another one of my prints, these die cut leaves that are super textured and beautiful on this paper I painted. What if everything works out? And a little shaker spell inside of this with some herbs and confetti and a beautiful lacy outside, and giving myself permission to do things. Just reminding myself that I can be playful and have fun. Just feeling really stuffed up, constipated, spiritually and creatively constipated. Do you ever get that way? I have a ritual where I work that out, and I might share that here or somewhere else very soon. Pumpkin magic. I have the seed packet from when my husband and I planted pumpkins this year. We didn't get any. All of our squash plants did really poorly because of the weather. It was too cold at first for the squash plants to produce female flowers, and then it was too hot. So they just spent the whole season producing male flowers, and any females that did survive immediately got gobbled up by birds or rabbits. But we fed someone, right? So this is a printout again from Molly Roberts, and inside of here I have some wishes written on little cutout pumpkin seeds. And I have my little pumpkin patch, a little ink Rorschach style painting for the background here. My new moon stamp. That's another theme, if you haven't noticed that, throughout these two books, is this stamp is every few pages. Some leaf spirits, actual leaves that I've pressed and glued in. Water is the element associated with autumn, so I wanted to explore that, and I think this sticker is so fun, so funny. And this paper is another washi paper, and it was really thin, so the next page I actually have something glued on it. That way it's not too thin that it flops all over the place. This little discussion of Golden Light. Like I said, a lot of writing in this book. The book I'm currently working on is not very writing heavy, because I kind of got sick of it. Little collage. More writing, more journaling. And another little collage of these gorgeous die-cut leaves that I found at a scrapbooking convention. Eris, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, the east wind god, the least known about wind god I discovered. He's usually depicted in association with the other wind gods, but there was this lovely poem about him, ancient poem that I found, that said, "Send a breeze then over the fields, soft wind, Eris." I thought that was nice. A farewell to autumn. More journaling, a photo that I painted over. That's one of Molly Roberts' ideas. You paint over a photo to depict things you want. I'm not super proud of this one. I did it a while ago, but I thought it was like a fool's journey sort of situation. I'm stepping off into the unknown. Little stamp there. Page about how to predict the winter weather with woolly bear caterpillars and persimmon seeds. And then lastly, one of my favorite poems about the season, November by Celia Thatcher. I hope you enjoyed this flip through of my miniature grimoires that I've completed this year, and I hope you'll join me again for art witchcraft and art journaling and just whatever else art related I'm up to in the future. I'll link below to Alexander Speaks. I talked about him quite a bit. He's wonderful. And I'll also link below to my other socials where I've posted a lot more and you can get to know me a little bit better. Thank you so much for watching.